Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm here to talk to you guys about My Hero Academia, which is on chapter 337. Now, this chapter right here was actually really nice, and I don't know what's bound to happen next, but one thing's for certain. This could go many ways depending on the fan base here and there, so if anything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that Dobby talks to All For One and asks him about his friends, but wouldn't they be exposed if it becomes a problem for us, I mean, if they were found out, wouldn't it be a problem? And All For One's like, no, not at all. What do you do with the cheap lighter that stops working? If he's successful, it's a plus for us. If he fails, I might be a little disappointed in that case. We'll just cast him aside and go about the next possible route we can take, Then we get to see a scene with All For One continuing to talk about saying he isn't anything more than a disposable tool, but it's better if he can entertain us for a while, This is pretty sad and devastating because when you look at really crazy and cruel because if you guys look at All For One, we all know that this guy, he likes to use people for his own end, to his own beneficial ends. We all know that. We've seen that. We know for the fact that despite their usefulness, they will be abandoned. Think about that time he abandoned Gigantomachia, and many others in places here and there. He has cared nothing for their well-being but his own. So if anything else, yeah. We have to it that Aoyama's parents try to take Yuga and run, but Izuku's like, hey, wait a moment, please wait. We see a narration from Aoyama-kun, saying both Maman and Papan were extremely concerned for me because I was quirkless. Both of them were supposedly from wealthy families. They raised me in luxury without an inconvenience in sight, and that's why I'm sure they were hurt more. They were more hurt by it than I ever was. The fact that I was different. That's why even while trying their best to make things work, they wish for nothing but my happiness. I've seen it. They can give away quirks freely. That's when I came across a rumor. Although the quirk I received was not compatible with my body at all, Maman and Papan, with all my hardships in mind, still raised me lovingly. And thus, my dream to become a hero that shows sympathy and compassion began. Because being different is scary, One day, just as we were getting comfortable in our lives once again, there's a rumor floating around that All Might is going to become a teacher. Make sure you get into UA. And Aoyama thinking in his mind, for the people, in order to make them happy, everyone's sake, I will. And then we see a scene where Aoyama is given a message by All For One. Tell me when the class will be isolated. Tell me where the training camp will be taking place. Now that Midoriya has returned to UA, lure him out and isolate him. I'm thinking in my mind, are you stupid, man? But whatever the case may be, Aoyama tells Izuku, but Izuku's danger sense activates, and Aoyama tells him that the letter you left us when I found out that you were quirkless just like me, I fell into the deepest pits of despair. We have to it that Izuku tries to tell Aoyama-kun not to fire his quirk, but unfortunately it's too late. And we have to it that Aoyama fires naval laser, but Hagakure therefore redirects the laser to not hit Izuku. We have to it that Hagakure says, my body has the ability to warp light. All of us could have died. All of Japan has thrown into chaos. And you still have the nerve to sit in the same classroom as us? As Hagakure cries in tears in devastation. And we see half of her face being revealed right now. And we had to it that even Hagakure says, you lived in the same dorms as us, didn't you, Aoyama-kun? And Aoyama's parents was trying to say, no, Ryuga is. And we had to it that Izuku later on captures Aoyama's parents and Aoyama himself and says, Aoyama-kun, Hagakure-san, she did this for you so that you wouldn't have to hurt anyone else. Let's stop this already. Let's put an end to all of this now. And we see Izuku crying very badly because it's very devastating, Think about it. I mean, Izuku been with Aoyama for about almost a year. Actually, it's actually been a year. And to find out that your friend that you will see as a brother, possibly a brother, depending how long you spent together and how you treat each other, it's gonna hurt you really bad in the heart. And the fact that Izuku captured them and still had tears in his eyes, it shows that he really cares and loves Aoyama not as a friend, but possibly as a brother. That's me being family oriented. But we see to it that that All Might and everyone else is actually shocked about Aoyama-kun, including their parents, and realize that so he was given a quirk and ended up being controlled. Even Tsukauchi, which is All Might's #1 best friend, All Might's face was like in disbelief, man. He's like, why? This student who I thought is going to be a good future hero is like this, And we had to it that that Tsukauchi says it was appeared to him around 10 years ago. If he's safe even now, it doesn't seem like there are any mechanisms for him to blow up like Nagant when turned on All for One, So pretty much Aoyama and his parents don't have a bomb in them. That's good to know. But Nezu asked Class 1A if all of you could please step away for some time. But Class 1A says, no way we are staying away from this. No way in hell. I mean, you could take a look at Class 1A's face right now, dude. Mineta from Todoroki, Uraraka, Shoji, Ashido's crying, Jiro's in disbelief. Kaminari's like, are you freaking serious right now, bruh? And then we see Ojiro's like, yo, if Hagakure-san didn't expose you, what were you planning to do? Even Kirishima and Yaoyorozu is like, dude, tell me that this is all a lie, etc. We had to it that Kak-chan's thinking in his mind, a quirkless child given a quirk sounds like someone else we know, don't you think? And we had to it that Tsukauchi therefore asks Aoyama's parents about this, saying, unfortunately, we still have to follow proper protocol here. Tell me everything you know about All for One. And Aoyama's father says, I know nothing. We were simply asked to carry out orders from him. If we failed, we would be killed. If we lied, we would be killed. And Tsukauchi's like, how do you know that? How would you be able to tell from that right now, And we had to it that Aoyama's father tells him that he showed us examples. People who defied him were disposed of like garbage. If you ran to tell the police, you would be killed the moment you stepped out of the building. There was no escaping him. No matter where you went, he would know and death would follow. We were just following orders. Yuga had no idea. All he knew was to not let anyone find out. We are the ones at fault here. And Aoyama remembering the words of what Hagakure told him, and you still had the nerve to sit in the same classroom as us? What the hell? And we had to it, Aoyama tells everyone in front of all the people that could have died because of me. I had the nerve to hang out with you guys and laugh as if I was one of you. To see you, a former quirkless person like me, knowing that you were struggling with the burden of fighting All for One, I despaired at my own misery. When I put my own despair before your heavy burden, I realized I was rotten to the core. The Aoyama-kun is a filthy villain through and through. And we had to it, Izuku tells Aoyama, then why did you help Tokoyami-kun and Kak-chan at the training camp? Because this is a big reference. If you guys remember, despite Aoyama following All for One's orders for the training camp, he still shot at Compress to try to save Kak-chan and Tokoyami, And even Izuku says, was the cheese from that night signifying that you were doing as All for One ordered? No, right? I didn't realize it then. It was an SOS, wasn't it? Why are you crying right now? It's because you couldn't do as All for One wished, right? I know a certain hero, even though All for One controlled her mind, she would never ever give up. Only her mind was crushed, but never her spirit. And All Might or Toshinori is actually shocked to see how Izuku could be saying this, And Izuku says, and Izuku thinks in his mind, if I knew earlier, things could have been different by now. And we had to, Izuku says out loud, no one should be named a villain for the rest of their lives just because they committed a crime. And Izuku offers his hand to Aoyama and says, take my hand, Aoyama-kun. And Kachan's like, we can choose to enter this fight, And Kachan's like, is that your play, Deku? Thinking in his mind. And Izuku cries and tells Aoyama, "You can still become a hero. Take my hand." And the chapter ends up there. So, overall, Aoyama-kun and his parents get caught by Izuku, Devastated, though. Class 198 is in utter major big disbelief right now, dude. And it's kind of funny how Izuku says no one should be called the villain just because they committed a crime. That's kind of hard to really give out right now, because think about what Aoyama-kun has done. He nearly got Aizawa Sensei almost killed, man, at the USJ. Not to mention the camp. All those kids could have been killed here and there. And then those were the two orders that is pretty devastating for Aoyama-kun, despite what happened here and there. Then now his third order is to isolate Midoriya from UA or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, are you serious right now? And etc. I don't know how this is gonna go out, but I'm pretty. Despite Izuku saying you could take my hand and you could still become a hero, I still find that really hard to believe. No one, as much as I like Izuku's heroism, man, I mean, it's really good and all, but how is everyone else going to feel about this? Especially Class 1A. Like, Aoyama-kun just sold them out. Okay, there's no denying the fact that he's trying to save his parents. That is 100% is going to happen. If he had to choose between his classmates and his parents, it's obviously going to be his biological family that took care of him and raised him, I mean, his parents did everything they can to give him his happiness, but still. It's really a big it's a really big shooting target for me right now, because it's hard for me to really trying to find a way to accept this with Izuku, I love Izuku's heroism. The way how he's trying to tell, despite what Aoyama-kun has done, he should not be labeled a villain just because he committed that crime. But Izuku's not looking at I like Izuku's good heart, man. There's no denying that. The way how he's offering the hand to Aoyama-kun, you can still be a hero, but after what Aoyama-kun did, so that at the USJ and at the training camp, and etc. And like I said, Aoyama is part of the reason that All Might had to retire, that kind of thing, because he had to fight All for One, etc. Not to mention, if I think about it correctly, Aoyama is indirectly responsible for most of the city and Kamino being destroyed here and there, and people losing their homes, and a lot of billions of yens of dollars of damages here and there. It's pretty crazy. I still believe that despite what's happening and Izuku trying to give his hand out, I don't think everyone's going to really agree with Izuku right here. Well, even if Kakchan and the others may try to back up Izuku for these things, but I don't know what's about to happen, but we'll have to find out next week's chapter. Like I said, it's really hard for me to think about this right now, because like I said, and repeating myself over and over again, forgive me for doing that, I like Izuku's heroism right here. However, I don't think it's going to work out. If Horikoshi really wants to do this right, it's up to him, but we'll have to see how this goes, because right now, I highly doubt, despite Izuku's good heart and natured will, there's no way in heck that everyone else is going to agree with Izuku, We'll have to see. I mean, we will have to see how this goes. Because sometimes a manga author could take a realistic route or another fictional route in other cases, but we'll have to see, like I said. But I still expect Aoyama and possibly Aoyama's parents is going to face proper punishment. But Aoyama, I think he has to face a certain amount of punishment to alleviate his guilt, man. I mean, think about it. Like I said, the USJ, he almost got the classmates killed. Not to mention Aizawa, he was almost killed, man. And the training camp, a lot of kids got injured. Izuku literally had to go all out and nearly lost both of his arms. Got an injury that could make him lose both of his arms. And whatchamacallit, he is part of the reason All Might had to retire, you know, that kind of thing. Well, it was going to happen that All Might was going to retire, but All Might retired faster than he has to. I mean, at the USJ, his time limit shortened, and then All For One's battle was the last blowout of the sparks, was the sparks of the fire. But yeah, so I don't know what's about to happen. It depends how the manga author wants to take this, you know. Like I said, Class 1A is a major disbelief and they're devastated. Even Izuku's devastated, but he still believes in Aoyama-kun. But what about the others right now, you know? Because right now, if anything, Hagakure even tells Aoyama that he's partly the reason why Japan's in total chaos right now, or the whole country's in hell, you know? We'll have to see. So until then, people, I'll see you guys in the next video or so. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot.